Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 348, 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. All right, I will bring into our meditation routine. I will see you all on the other side. All right, everybody, welcome back. Brandon, happy Friday, brother. Auntie Louisa, happy Friday. Good morning. All right. So we're gonna get. We just finished our meditation routine. And now we're getting into our reading routine. So I will see you all on the other side. Man, this book is so inspiring. It's actually pretty awesome. The Richest Man in Babylon. It's pretty amazing. All right, so welcome back. We just finished our reading routine. And now we're getting into our journaling routine. And I think today we're going to be finishing our 5th journal, which is pretty exciting. We've already had 5 for the year, which again is pretty good. Manifestations, dreams, goals, ambition, achievements, determinations, focus, clarity, accuracy has all been recorded. We've been talking about in these 5 books. So I'm pretty excited to come to the end here. All right. So I will see you all on the other side. That sucks. We just finished another pen. Yeah, we're definitely getting to the end. Amazing. All right, my friends, welcome back. So, excuse me yesterday in advance, I would say, because we actually, I don't know what happened. I think something happened where our connection got disconnected. So I wasn't able to go over yesterday's readings, obviously. But when we last spoke, we talked about the good luck goddess and pretty much how the book suggests that when opportunities come, we should execute on them. And that good wealth or building wealth and fortune isn't going to come from the luck of the draw at a casino or at a poker table, for example. And so now what we're doing is we're getting into the mindset building of the 5 laws of gold. And I'm pretty much going to tell you exactly what needs to be done to start to leverage gold in your favor, and not only leverage gold in your favor, but go over the 5 laws of gold and describe how you can pretty much go from nothing to building a wealth pot for yourself with the leverage of the universe, and then ultimately living a financially free life. A bag scenario. A bag with gold, or a clay tablet carved with words of wisdom. If thou had that choice, which would you choose? So if I gave you the option and I said, hey, I'm going to give you a tablet with some wisdom on it, or I'm going to give you a big bag of gold, which one would you choose? By the flickering light from the fire of desert shrubs, the suntanned faces of the listeners gleamed with interest. The gold, Charuz the 27. Old Kalabab smiled knowingly. Hark, he assumed, raising his hand. Hear the wild dogs out there in the night? They howl and wail because they are lean with hunger. Yet feed them, and what do they? Fight and strut, then fight and strut some more, giving no thought to the morrow that will surely come. Just so it is with the sons of men. Give them a choice of gold and wisdom. What do they do? What do they do? Which one would you choose? Ignore the wisdom and waste the gold. On the morrow, they wail because they have no more gold. Gold is reserved for those who know its laws and abide by them. Kalabab drew his white robe close about his lean legs, for a cool night wind was blowing. Because thou hast served me faithfully upon our journey, because thou cared well for my camels, because thou toiled uncomplainingly across the hot sands of the desert, because thou fought bravely the robbers that sought to despoil my merchandise, I will tell thee this night the tale of 5 laws of gold. Hark ye with deep attention to the words I speak, for if you grasp their meaning and heed them, in the days that come thou shalt have much gold. So pretty much the intro to this chapter is that people spoil gold because they don't think about their future investment. They don't think about their future moves. And that's really, really important. The move I make today is going to be very critical to my move that I make 1 year, 2 years, 3, 20, 30 years down the road. But it all happens in sequences. Ultimately, leading up to the grand finale of, being a multimillionaire, if we're talking about money. And so, multi-millionaire for that matter. I will tell these nights. So Kalabab, who's the main character speaking now, is going to tell everybody the story about the 5 laws of gold. Okay, so in Babylon, it is custom, as you know, that the sons of wealthy fathers live with their parents in expectation of inheriting the estate. Arkad did not approve of this custom. Therefore, when Nomasir reached man's estate, he sent the young man and addressed him, "My son, it is my desire that thou succeed to my estate. Thou must, however, first prove thou art capable of wisely handling it. Therefore, I wish that thou go out into the world and show thy ability both to acquire gold and to make thyself respected among men." Let me see here. So Arkad is the richest man in Babylon. We said that multiple times. Nomasir is his father. Nomasir made a bargain with him and said, "Hey, I'll give you everything." So an estate is like pretty much whatever your parents have or whatever your parents have worked for, and you get the benefit of inheriting that if and when they pass. Okay, so Arkad was a big advocate on going out, making a name for yourself, and pretty much not just inheriting your parents' estate and having a bad attitude. So his father made a deal with them. "Hey, you go out, you make something of yourself, you come back to me in 10 years, you will have proven to me that you are more than capable of handling my estate once I am no longer here. First, I give thee this bag of gold. If thou use it wisely, it will be the basis for thy future. Second, I give this day a clay tablet, which is carved the 5 laws of gold. If thou dost interpret them in thy own acts, they shall bring thee competence and security. 10 years from this day, come thou back to the house of thy father, and give account of thyself. If thou prove worthy, I will then make thee the heir to my estate. Otherwise, I will give it to the priests, that they may be better for my soul, the land consideration of the gods." My father, he began deferentially, "I bow before thy wisdom 10 years ago." So at this point, Arkad now goes out, comes back to his father's house. One second. Yep. My father, he began deferentially, "I bow before thy wisdom. 10 years ago, when I stood at the gates of manhood, thou bade me go forth and become a man among men, instead of remaining a vassal to thy fortune. Thou gave me liberally of thy gold. Thou gave me liberally of thy wisdom. Of gold, alas, I must admit, of a disastrous handling." Pardon me. "It fled, indeed, from my inexperienced hands, even as a wild hare flees at the first opportunity from the youth who captures it." So pretty much what happened here is Arkad returns to his dad and says, "Hey, I'm returning, but I have to let you know I have mishandled the money that you have gave me." The father smiled indulgently. "Continue, my son. The tale interests me in all its details." So Nineveh was a wealthy man who owned a horse so swift that he had never been beaten. Its owner believed that no horse living could run with greater speed. Therefore, he would wager any sum, however large, that his horse could outspeed any horse in the Babylonia. Compared to their horse, so my friend said, it was but a lumbering ass that could be beaten with ease. They offered as a great favor to permit me to join them in a wager. I was quite carried away with the plan. Our horse was badly beaten, and I lost much of my gold. The father laughed. I discovered that it was the deceitful plan of these men, and they constantly journeyed with caravans seeking victims. You see, the man of Nineveh was their partner, and shared with them the bets he won. This shrewd deceit taught me my first lesson in looking out for myself. Arkad is traveling. He meets a group of men. they have a grandmaster scheme and eventually bamboozle him out of majority of his gold, and he just got on the journey to pretty much making his father proud and showing that he can earn the estate, but he makes a bad investment. He makes a bad move. So I was soon to learn, but a very valuable lesson nonetheless. I was soon to learn another equally bitter in the caravan was another young man with whom I became quite friendly. He was the son of wealthy parents, and like myself, journeying to Nineveh to find a suitable location. Not long after our arrival, he told me that a merchant had died, and his shop with its rich merchandise and patronage could be secured at a paltry price, saying that we would be equal partners, but first must return to Babylon to secure his gold. He prevailed upon me to purchase the stock with my gold, agreeing that his would be used later to carry on our venue. He long delayed the trip to Babylon, proving in the meantime to be an unwise buyer and a foolish spender. I finally put him out, but not before the business had deteriorated to where we only had unsaleable goods and no gold to buy other goods. I sacrificed I sacrificed what was left to an Israelite for a pitiful sum. Soon there followed, I will tell you, my father, bitter days. I sought employment and found it not, for I was without trade or training that would enable me to earn. I sold my horses, I sold my slave, I sold my extra robes that I might have food and place to sleep, but each day grim want crouched closer. But in those bitter days I remembered that confidence in me, my father. Thou hadst sent forth to become a man, and this I was determined to accomplish. The mother buried her face and wept softly. At this time I bethought of the tablet thou had given to me, upon which thou had carved the 5 laws of gold. Thereupon I read most carefully thy words of wisdom, and realized that had I sought wisdom first, my gold would not have been lost to me. I learned by heart with each law, and determined that when once more the goddess of good fortune smiled upon me, I would be guided by the wisdom of age and not by the inexperience of youth. For the benefit of you who are seated here this night, I will read the wisdom of my father as engraved upon the clay tablet which he gave me 10 years ago. This is really, really big. And I say that because you got to think about it. This book cost me $5.99, but it just saved me probably over a decade of learning, experiencing, just from the stories that are within these pages. But it cost me $6 to get this. Out of all the journey to greatness, anything you guys have made, anything anybody may have picked up or have learned along the way, completely free. Like I don't charge anybody for anything. As a matter of fact, you're not even getting charged for the time that you spend, to wake up in the morning and read and do your own routine, even if it's not directly parallel with this one. That's very, very big stuff. It's actually more valuable on both accords, both being present and joining in the sessions and showing up and being present for the sessions. There is no price that you can put on learning. There's no price that you can put on education. The most important thing is the more we educate ourselves through self-teaching, like reading books like this, and or journaling and learning about ourselves ever more so presently. It's priceless stuff. It's all so priceless. And long story short, Arkad trusted another man who said, "Hey, I got an opportunity for you. I want to open up this shop. I have a lot of good goods, and they'll all sell really fast." They ended up not selling fast. And so Arkad was stuck with a bunch of items that he wasn't able to sell. He already lost a majority of his gold through another venture that he tried to make his money grow for him. He tried, at least he attempted it, right? And he learned lessons from both of these. And on that last one, the shop he had to close down. Okay, value. And then he came into a really, really hard whirlwind. So where pretty much he lost everything. But then he was remembered. My father gave me gold and my father gave me wisdom. How can I apply the wisdom to get myself out of the situation? At that moment, there's one piece that's missing that's not mentioned. His mindset had to change. His mindset had to adapt, and he had to begin brainwashing himself in the words of the wisdom that his father's, in the words of wisdom that his father gave to him on this tablet. But actually, let's get into the five laws of gold so we can wrap up here. 6:19. So gold cometh gladly and increasing quantity. So this is law number 1. Gold cometh gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. Put away 1/10 and change your mindset, or continue progressing your mindset, and you will begin to build wealth like no other. You will see opportunities come to you that you, when you least expect it, and you'll be surprised at the nature in which these opportunities come. Rule number 2: gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying it as the flocks of the field. Find ways to invest your money so that it can work with you, so it can work for you. Rule number 3: gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. If you're going to invest with people who study the process. Invest with people who understand how to make money work for them. Rule number 4: gold slippeth away from the man who invests it in a business or purposes with which he is not familiar, or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. Rule number 5: gold flees the man who would force it into impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusted his own experience and romantic desires in investment. So if you're not good at investing, learn it. If you're not good at investing, don't flirt with the idea. Flirt with the idea because from the standpoint of trying and being risk adverse, but don't throw all your money in one pot if you have no experience in investing. Take the time to either meet wise men that'll help you with it, and or take the time to learn it, master it, and or at least to some degree master it, and then make the investment. These are the 5 laws of gold as written by my father. I do proclaim them as of greater value than gold itself, as I will show by the continuance of my tale. He again faced his father. I have told thee of the depth of poverty and despair to which my inexperience brought me. However, there is no chain of disasters that will not come to an end. Mine came when I secured employment managing a crew of slaves working upon the new outer wall of the city. Profiting from my knowledge of the first law of gold, I saved a copper from my first earnings, adding it to every opportunity until I had a piece of silver. It was a slow procedure, for one must live. I did spend grudgingly, I admit, because I was determined to earn back the 10 years were over as much gold as you, my father, had given to me. So in other words, his luck began to change. And his luck began, or his reality began to change, at least from my perspective, because he went back to the words of wisdom, and he changed his mindset about money. So then he got a job leading a number of slaves to help build a wall on the outside of, I think, of Nivnia. And long story short, through my misfortunes, my trials, and my success, I have tested time and again the wisdom of the 5 laws of gold. My father had proven them true in every test. To him who is without knowledge of the 5 laws. Gold comes not often, and goeth away quickly. But to him who abide by the 5 laws of gold, by the 5 laws, gold comes and works as his dutiful slave. So he began respecting gold. Arkad did. He began respecting gold. He began saving gold. So pretty much, I think the biggest thing here is not only was it the mindset shift that he experienced, but it's also the discipline behind saving 1/10 gold. Morning, Liz. Top of the morning. Is he saved 1/10 of the gold, and I think that's the big thing. And so again, we went over this before we even hit this chapter. If you want to change your life, if you're living a life where money is a problem, start with this basic philosophy. The cool thing about all of these stories is that everybody started from ground zero, and now to be the richest man in the area, based off of the wisdom, just the words, just following what the book is saying is suggesting to us. If you just follow this formula, it will come to pass. It's like inevitable, like literally inevitable. Like this is the keys to the chest, the magic treasure chest that we're all searching for, or at least not everyone, but that a lot of people are searching for. Financial freedom. This I do prove to thee, Father, 2 more pages, of how much greater value I consider thy wisdom than thy gold. Yet who can measure in bags of gold the value of wisdom? Without wisdom, gold is quickly lost by those who have it. But with wisdom, gold can be secured by those who have it not, as these 3 bags of gold do prove. So pretty much so what ended up happening is here, to end, Arkad makes a very, very wise investment with a man who he met while working, building the bridge, or building the gate, the final gate. And through his experiences, trials and tribulations, Arkad said he met a man, and the man said, hey, I have an opportunity to help you grow your gold exponentially here in the next year or so. I'm going to do it. A number of other people are going to do it, but this is how it's going to work. The king has not anticipated for the amount of metal it's going to take to build this fence. So what we're going to do is we're going to all put our money together, and we're going to pretty much have somebody travel out to the metal and tin far, far out in the desert and go buy a lot of it in anticipation for this new gate that we're going to have to build. What's going to end up happening is the king hasn't anticipated or even thought this far ahead in advance. So when he starts to, when we start building and the time comes for us to run out of gold, to run out of metal, we'll be the only ones in the city who have metal to finish this fence. And so with that, we will go ahead and sell it to him for a premium price. And therefore, our gold will be exponentially compounded and increased, and we will make a lot of money. Worst case scenario, he doesn't decide to buy our tin and our metal, and we sell it for a fair price and at least make our money back, right? Sounds like a pretty sound investment. That sounds like a pretty good investment. I guess for the fear-based thought would be, well, what if it doesn't sell back for the fair-based price? Well, then the next question you have to ask yourself is, how much am I losing? That's risk assessment. If it sells back and you make 90% of your money, I would say that's not a bad investment. In some situations, some people make 0 money back. I've heard of people doing, I've heard some wild stories. Well, obviously, even in the book, we even talk about it. But that sounds like a pretty fair investment. Well, the cool thing is Arkad heard the opportunity, he executed on the opportunity, and then he pretty much made all of his money back. And not only did he make all of his money back, but he made 3-4 times the amount of money back that his father gave him, and now was standing in front of his father with these bags of money saying, hey, here's the gold. I did what you asked me to do. I made myself known among men. But the most important thing here is I did it not because I'm infatuated and I'm in love with gold. I did it because I used the wise words that you gave me. I had nothing. And from that nothing, I was able to transform that into all of these bags of gold. So I've proven worthy. And his father looked at him and said, no, Nasir looked at him. He said, my son, you have proven worthy. And so therefore you will inherit my estate. And I think the most important thing here to, along with mindset is that um, when you start preparing yourself and you save that 1/10, the bigger universal understanding of all that is gold will favor you. But the reason why gold will favor you is because the universe understands your intention. They understand that you are coming from a place of abundance. Even when it's hard, it got hard and you did it hard and you accomplished making it through. And so the biggest dilemma with that is the biggest fear-based thought would be, well, I have my bills, I have my expenses. Well, then again, figure out a way to get more creative to make that 10% of what you make, or you need to take a bigger sacrifice. So if you need to eat out less, if you need to spend less money on clothes, if you need to go out less and be more of a homebody for a year, a year and a half to change your life and change your family's generational DNA dynamic, if you had to sacrifice that for a year or a year and a half or even 2 years to have 40, 50, 100 centuries of generational success and wealth and rearrangement, I think that's a fantastic investment of time, a fantastic investment in yourself. And so with that, I think that's a powerful, 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 powerful lesson. And I'll leave all of us and myself with that. So with that, good morning to everybody who jumped on the messenger board. Thank you. Constant love and support. Everybody who's at home watching, thank you for the constant love and support. I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully everybody was able to take something from today's journey. And thank you for joining me, day 348 of 365. Coming down to the wire here. I will see you all tomorrow at 5 a.m. Have a great Friday and make it the best day of your life today. Peace.